All right, welcome and good evening, everyone, to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have the Area 51 Superspeedway racing. We've got Daytona here, race number 2 of the playoffs. This will be elimination race, which will bring us from the 8 drivers down to the final 4. So I'll say, obviously from last week's results, which I say actually I got to pull up the results. I don't know if you have them handy, Dale. I say we had at least obviously one driver advance due to their win last week, and with all the craziness going on, I can't remember who won last week. Kevin Freeze, there we go. So, 25, Kevin Freeze, you see actually is our points leader entering it, so he's already advanced. He is on to our finale at Talladega. 3 more drivers trying to book in their spots, though, for after tonight. Right now, you got Gabe Butler in 2nd, Kevin Hash 3rd, Jim Brooks in 4th. And then you look how close it is between them. You got Matt Quick right there, only 2 points behind Jim. And 4 more points back is Todd Merkel. Then you got Chad Wilkes right there and Eric Laurie. So, really, all of these drivers are all in contention here, and I mean, we talk about it week in, week out. I think bonus points going to be the name of the game here. If maybe one of these guys, maybe a Gabe Butler, Kevin Hash, maybe they can get themselves that 1 bonus point for the pole position. But I think we'll also see some drivers maybe opt to start towards the back there, maybe try to get that highest climber award as well. Of course, most crucial of all is if you can get that clean race, 0 incident points. So I believe that gives you 2 bonus points to do that. So it'll be interesting to see what the strategies are going to be here tonight.
Yeah, we talk about pit strategy so much, and just those simple little bonus point strategies, like you're talking about. Starting as far back as you can to gain as many spots. Those little things really add up.
Yeah, they really do. So say everybody's, like I said, still making their laps here at the moment. Won't spoil who is where, but right now, Dale, we have 1/1000th of a second between 1st and 2nd place. Still got some more drivers on track though, but I mean, in qualifying, 1/1000th of a second, that's pretty wild for how close you can cut it here in qualifying.
No, you're absolutely right. And when you look at those 2 drivers, Raymond Rittenauer and Kevin Hash, I'm not entirely surprised at that.
Yeah, no surprise, but there's a few more making their laps. To say we've got a few big hitters still on track as well, so be curious to see if anybody can bump those 2 off the top of that list. Yeah, definitely one just did. So I say we'll let this finish up and we'll go over our starting grid. But again, those playoff contenders, once we get the ticker up, you'll see their names with that little P off to the side of it. So just to go over those again, we mentioned the 25 Kevin Freeze. He is locked in. And I think he may actually be taking this one off, it looks like. Dale said, I'm not seeing the 25 in the grid here tonight, so I think he might be just cruising on. Maybe skip Daytona, went straight to Talladega to get ready for that finale. But yeah, those drivers with the P's next are named Gabe Butler, Kevin Hash, Todd Merkel, Eric Laurie, Matt Quick, Jim Brooks. Those will be some of the drivers that we talk about here tonight, as it looks like qualifying has just completed. So now let's go over our starting grid for this event. And pole position is actually going to go to the 1 of Gabe Butler. And say he put a big number down there, Dale, almost half a tenth quicker than we mentioned between that tie. Actually, look at that. Look at 2nd through 4th here, Dale. You got Raymond Rittenauer with a 270, Dude Conrad, Kevin Hash 271s apiece. So those guys all within 1/1000th of a second of one another. And then you got Charles Johnson, Matt Wagner, Dale Willoughby, and Bud Steele. 9th through 16th, you've got Jack Walls, Dean Wilkinson, Alberto Lopez, Todd Merkel, Nick Manfredi, Eric Laurie. That's one of the player drivers I missed on the list. I apologize for that. Michael Spell, Todd Siebels. And then 17th through 22nd, you got Robbie Richards, John Brill, Matt Quick, Kyle Hess, Jim Brooks, and Quabi Brooks. So like we talked about, Dale, looks like already we got 2 drivers opting to start towards the back. They're going to be that 89 and the 76 to see if they can maybe get that bonus point for climbing the most positions here.
Yeah, and Jim Brooks in the 76, he scored in 4th position, and the 89 of Matt Quick is scored in the 5th position. So both of them right there on the cutoff and just separated by a couple points. It's not a large spread at all.
No, yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. And yeah, you're exactly right, Larry. Kevin should have joined us in the booth here tonight. Like I said, maybe give some perspective from what he's used to seeing here. I'll be curious to see. We've seen it before, Dale, where some of the drivers that qualify up to the front, they opt to actually start from the pits and then kind of work their way forward. So I'm going to be curious to see. Right now, I do see the 87 and the 03 on grid. So we'll see if Gabe Butler, Jude Connor, if they hop on grid as well. So far, It looks like everybody's going to go ahead and grid on this one. Yep, there they come. So yeah, so it looks like we're going to have a full field show up on this one here tonight. Actually, as I say that, yep, there's Dude Connor. Okay, I got a little nervous there. All right, so we got 22 drivers here taking part. Dale again. 75 laps is the race distance. They did make some adjustments to the fuel window, so we should have pretty much a 3-stop race guaranteed. I want to say the fuel number is about 55% of what they could actually run, so that's going to really change strategies around and say most likely if you got green flag stops, it's going to be a 2-tire stop no matter what.
Yeah, another thing to mention there too with the lighter fuel load and the rear end, that'll jack the rear end up a little bit more. So it's definitely going to change how these cars handle.
Yeah, definitely will. I say another thing. I think we got a little bit of updates on some paint schemes on some of these guys. I say that number 1 of Gabe Butler, it looks like a little bit of an update to his car. Saying I don't know what it is with Raymond Rinauer, so I don't know if it's they heard one car just tagged the wall there in the back entering turn 1 and 2. But Raymond Rinauer, I'm not sure what it is about that with the 87 car, but just it's standing out a little bit more to me than usual. I'm not sure if they made some slight adjustment. Maybe it's the font on the car number. I'm not sure, but it's looking sharper than usual for me.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm not sure. It's like somebody gets a new haircut. You know something different. You just can't figure out what it is.
Yeah, it's looking good though. As I know you caught one caught your eye a little earlier. It's going to be that number 11 of Matt Wagner. So they got the Budweiser throwback paint scheme. I want to say that was a Bill Elliott paint scheme, if I'm not mistaken, for that throwback car.
Yeah, just odd choice of manufacturer there, but yeah, it's a good looking ride nonetheless. A lot different from what Matt normally runs.
Yeah, so yeah, you got Bill Elliott that pretty much ran Fords his entire career, Chase running Chevrolets his whole career, but Matt's like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna put on a Toyota. Let's see what they think about that one. However, Pace car is about to duck off, going to hand it over to that front row of Gabe Butler, Raymond Rittenauer. Remember, initial start is on that green flag, and then from there they will go ahead and have control of the future restarts as they are down and away again. 75 laps is our scheduled distance here. Again, this is the cutoff race at Daytona. We'll be dropping the top 8 down to 4.
Gabe Butler getting a big push early on from Dude Conrad there on the bottom side.
Yeah, so you got a pretty good group of those guys that we talk about week in and week out right here in those top 4 qualifying spots with Gabe Butler, Raymond Rittenauer, Jude Conrad, Kevin Hash. Dale Willoughby's right there as well in the 7th position. One of the drivers that we hadn't seen, he kind of comes and goes a little bit, is that 9 of Charles Johnson. Charles right up in this mix as well. He's definitely going to be one I think to watch for as well. And then one driver that's pretty much taken, I think, this entire season 7 off. He's kind of poked his head out. Is that number 83 of Jack Walls. We always talk and joke about him with that bright yellow Pennzoil machine. So he's going to hop in here tonight and see maybe he's kind of getting the rust off and get dusted off a little bit, ready for season 8 here.
One thing I'm noticing early on is there's actually quite a bit of aggression. You don't see a whole lot of bump in or 3 wide or anything, but the fact that these guys have not really made an attempt to single out yet is speaking a lot for how this race is going to go.
Yeah, and I was going to mention too, just the gaps between the cars are really close. So usually you see them, like you said, kind of spread out a good bit, give each other a lot of room kind of between each car, but these guys are really tightly packed here, almost like you'd almost expect to see them around like 5-10 to go. So I think you're right, Dale. I think it looks like the intensity level is going to be ramped up that little bit more. I think a lot of these drivers know exactly what's on the line here for tonight.
Yeah, the top line, and we see this pretty often actually, but the top line's not formed up nearly as well as that bottom line, so they're definitely suffering here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that top line start to really get a good push. I see a little bit of a bobble there in 1 and 2 there by the 8. But I think once you see Kevin Hash, Raymond Renner, I think once they can really lock on and they kind of do what they do best, I suspect we'll see them start to make a bit of a charge here. So we'll take a look from the back of that 87 car, and you can see he's pretty much got there. But I think right now they are playing a little bit safe here, almost kind of where they can kind of control both lines here with being in those top 4 positions.
Yeah, I was looking, and it looked like the 55 of Dean Wilkinson in that Tide car elected to roll back out of the throttle a little bit and fall back. He wasn't really liking what he was seeing ahead of him, I don't think.
Yeah, when you're in that kind of tight of a pack, it's definitely something you got to be a little bit aware about. So, I think Dean Wilkinson kind of just trying to make sure he's going to be there towards the end of it, but you got to make sure he doesn't fall too far back, because you see Kyle Hess kind of coming up to him pretty quickly there. And we mentioned those two that are kind of right now playing the strategy call right here. That 89 of Matt Quick, 76 of Jim Brooks. There right now, they were on the last two cars in that lead pack here. Now they're going to have a couple behind them. But I have a feeling you're going to see these two guys kind of just try to be saving fuel here and try to see maybe use some strategy to get themselves up there when it really counts.
Yeah, Matt Quick is the fuel save master on these super speedways. So I'm sure, you know, rolling off a pit lane, he had that fuel save mindset going.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be curious to see how much further and how much more they can go if it winds up playing a role or not in this whole race, of course. Because we've had some times where, I mean, it has gone caution-free from time to time, and sometimes we do have some incidents that kind of change everybody's strategy. But I feel like, again, with that fuel number adjustment that they've made to kind of force that third stop with these cars, I really think I don't think they can stretch it to make that two-stopper like we've seen before at that, maybe pitting at that 25 and 50 mark. So, it's going to be interesting. We'll have to wait and see, but right now, though, I mean, again, we're kind of back at the pace lap setup here, where you're still running up 2x2, pretty much everybody exactly in their starting positions here.
Yeah, and if it's me and I'm somebody like Matt Wagner, you know, they're that third car in the top line, I'm going to try to get down, you know, maybe even roll out of throttle, just get down and save fuel, because he's not really able to save a whole bunch in the position he's in.
Yeah, really the drivers saving probably the most right now are going to be kind of on the middle of that inside line. Like the 7 of Dale Willoughby, Jack Walls, like those guys are in a really good spot for fuel savings here. You always want to be you want to be on the low side, but you also want to have at least a car or two behind you to kind of have that air kind of push your car still forward. If you're the last car in the draft, you got to really hustle to make sure you don't lose that draft in front of you. So that those cars that are like the last ones in the draft, like right now, I believe it's the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. He probably can't save as much as some of these guys, even though he's in that bottom line. Some of these guys that are further up they kind of get that little bit of an air from behind to kind of keep propelling them that little bit forward.
Yeah, and you had mentioned Dale Willoughby and you know, Charles Johnson's up there, Jack Wall's in this position as well. Being on that bottom line and kind of in the middle, you're never all the way on the throttle most likely. And the fact that Charles Johnson and Dale Willoughby have cars on the outside, it holds them to the yellow line, which is, you know, obviously the shorter way around.
Yeah, it's something we always comment as well and also when we're in the races is you're in that inside line and you notice every time that whenever it seems like there's a decent sized checkup or stack up, it's usually always on that inside line where it happens, just because again you're kind of having to pinch that inside line. On the outside line, you get that little bit of momentum on the exit, so it usually keeps the momentum built up a little bit better here. But right now, again, I mean, you see there have been more cars starting to kind of fade to the back, maybe drop to the inside, trying to play it safe here. Again, kind of wonder if anybody's going to try to go off strategy. This is a track that's not like the iRacing Superspeedway here in Daytona. Here at Daytona and Talladega, you can pit and stay on the lead lap. You obviously have to make sure you get a really good entry and exit. But I say iRacing Superspeedway, you're pretty much you're going to be getting a lap down no matter what you did over there. But here you can definitely make something happen though, going off strategy.
You know, I'm just kind of looking at the running order here and watching everybody, and what I would look to happen is when Charles Johnson can get up top, I think he's going to move up top. I think his best opportunity to do this is if he can get between Kevin Hash and Matt Wagner. I think he'll be in good shape, because we know Charles Johnson is not afraid to take it 3 wide. Neither is Matt Wagner, and neither is Eric Laurie behind Matt. So I think those 3 cars grouped up to get around the 87 and 3 on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a really good point too. Like you're mentioning on the for some like Eric Laurie, actually right now one of the highest climbers of the field. Him along with that 14 of Robbie Richards, they both gained about 5 spots so far in this opening stint. I say Eric and actually both Robbie have moved to the top side here. Say Eric's one of those guys. I mean, he's in those playoff hunts, and I say everybody's really tight on points. I mean, Eric's in the same thing. He's going to try to gain as many spots as he can. I mean, if he can be at there at the end. I mean, he pretty much won his way to get into this playoff in the first place. So, I mean, there's no saying that he can't win again to advance into that Final Four to make that championship hunt.
Yeah, and those kind of things, if Eric Laurie gets up here and wins this thing, it throws a big wrench in how a lot of people are expecting this to turn out, because the battle I think everyone's looking at is between Matt Quick and Jim Brooks at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Those are 4th and 5th, and the points coming into tonight, there's only 2 points between them. But yeah, you're right though. I mean, one little change here, I mean, that'll change everybody's potentials. As I said, if someone, let's say, who's in 7th or 8th, let's say, we haven't even talked about Todd Merkel much tonight. He's right there cruising on the 81 car. He's in the same boat here, Dale. I mean, he's right now. He's kind of, in my opinion, he's kind of where you like. If I'm in this pack here, this is exactly where I want to be. I'm the first car that's single file. Don't have anybody to your outside, but you're right on the main pack here. This is if I ever have the opportunity, this is usually the spot I want to be in. That way you'd have nobody outside of you to worry about, and then you have room to kind of maneuver if you need to, if anything happens in front. And of course, on the inside line, saving fuel. So, again, I mean, Todd Merkel, I'll say he's obviously in a good spot. He's going to be definitely going full fuel save as well. Probably not what he's used to with his pro stock car that he also races with in the real world side of things. But I say obviously got to kind of pick and choose what you can do here early on.
Yeah, you're right. You know, if he sees the top side getting a big run, Todd can move up. He can stay on the bottom. Like, the options are all to him. And as spread out as everybody is back here behind Nick Manfredi, like, they kind of got to follow where Todd and Nick go at this point.
Yeah, you're right there because, yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're anybody on that inside row, if you jump to the top, you're just going to fall back because you're too far away from Michael Spell to pick up his toe. So right now these drivers are going to have to definitely be kind of smart about what they try to do here. But I think what we're seeing right now, I think, is, again, what we've seen a lot in this series. I think these guys are really just kind of planning and working on their kind of timing and making I think this race is going to be kind of set by the pit stop strategies. And of course, then A, the strategy, and then B, just the execution of that in lap, the out lap. I think that's going to be where we're going to see this field probably split up in a group or two, an additional group or two, I should say. So I think that's what we're going to have to really keep an eye out for as well. See if anybody pulls some strategies of maybe a one can of fuel type situation instead of plugging in that second can. They just want to stick with one can to shorten that stop out and make sure that they get that track position. Yeah,
and those types of decisions are what, tend to win races, at least in this league.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, last week at iRacing, I say it feels like it's been forever ago, but Kevin Freed's getting the win there. I want to say it was Matt Quick that was locked on with him there, and I mean they pitted early and they went a lap down. I mean, because again at iRacing Superspeedway, you can't pit and stay on the lead lap just the way that track is, the speed that they're going there. I mean, they're going about 50 miles an hour faster there than they are here at Daytona, again, just with the completely unrestricted cars. And so they had to basically hope that things stayed caution-free all the way to the end, and they were able to execute their pit stop perfectly and then be able to get right back out in front once it was kind of time to to chase the flag and get that prize money. So and I think that's what we're going to see here again. Maybe not to the same extent as last week, but I think we're going to see that same thing happen tonight.
I'll tell you what I'm seeing, and that's that the guys in that top line, Matt Wagner, Eric Laurie and company, are starting to get a little impatient with Raymond Rittenauer and Kevin Hash, as I've seen Matt Wagner get up there to Kevin's bumper a couple times.
Yeah, Matt Wagner's not one for riding. He wants to go and he wants to try to make some moves happen. When you're kind of stuck in this 2x2 here, it's a tough position to be in because you want to make that third line happen. But of course, here at Daytona, it's definitely a little bit of a riskier move than at a than at a Talladega, or obviously at iRacing Superspeedway. But for Matt, just the question, of course, then is too, do you have anybody willing to work with you? Which at this point, I don't suspect he has that help with him. Because even though he's got Eric Laurie behind him, I feel like Eric's probably pretty content with where he is at the moment. So I think these guys are probably just going to have to kind of sit and wait until that first set of pit stops happen. But that's the next kind of wrench that could fall into play here, though, Dale. And these guys on the inside or on the outside, they got to find a way to get down once this pit stop window opens. We're on lap 16 already here of 75. So I feel like this pit window is probably in the next 5, at the absolute most 10 laps. So this is something that they have to start really kind of getting ready for here.
Yeah, and the way the front 10 cars are grouped up, it's going to be very, very difficult to get down. I'm sure Raymond Rittenauer and Kevin Hash are communicating with the guys around them. But if you're Matt Wagner, who's kind of an independent driver as far as this group up here, it's a lot more difficult.
Yeah, and that's where kind of discord comes into play as well, where we've seen it time and time again where some drivers be like, okay, hey, on restarts, for instance, we're gonna 3, 2, 1, go. Everybody else that's around you has no idea what's going on, but everybody that's in that same chat, they can kind of react accordingly and maybe get a good jump on the rest of the field. So that could be the same thing here with these guys, where it's like, okay, we're going to kind of cruise right here, but then Raymond and Kevin Hash might be like, okay, once we're getting to that pit window, I'm going to really lock onto you. I'm going to push you all the way, try to get around that one car, and then we'll be pitting within, let's say, 2 laps of when that push happens. So. And I'd say it does seem like they're starting to be a little more aggressive here. Not a ton, but just that little bit more. As you can see, they were, just for that moment, able to push up to that one car of Gabe Butler here.
Yeah, it's kind of been cycling back and forth. You see Kevin Hash has pressed up on Raymond Rittenauer right there, kind of backed off a little bit. But I've been watching. They're kind of swapping lanes, who's ahead. And I don't know if they found something in practice that works or what, but I've been watching them. They've been doing it for a few laps where Raymond Rittenauer will be ahead, and then Dude Conrad will push Gabe Butler by. So, these guys practice so much, it's hard to know exactly what they've learned.
Yeah, you never know if they're showing their full hand or not. These guys are pretty wily about some stuff. But I mean, right now, say they're doing exactly what they need to do. Say Gabe obviously get in the pole position. He's got a lap. I mean, this rate, he's well on his way to trying to lead those most laps as well. So right now we're coming up to start lap number 19. So again, we talked about that reduced fuel numbers here. You have to wonder how far can some of these guys stretch it. iRacing Superspeedway. It should be a lot lower than. iRacing Superspeedway should be a lot lower fuel mileage than here. I still am skeptical that anybody can stretch that 25 lap mark to get the to make it a 2-stopper. So I'm really intrigued to see if anybody's going to try to pull that strategy off here tonight.
Yeah, and the thing I'm questioning too is maybe that's going to sneak up on somebody, and they're going to get that 5-lap warning, and in their mind go, hey, what's going on? Last time we were here, we could run 34 laps or whatever it was. So I'm interested to see if we might see some panicky reactions out of that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but I mean, right now, it's still, I mean, everybody's holding still real steady. Like I said, it's pretty much like these top 5 or top 6 drivers, pretty much based on where they qualify here. Not a lot of change, but you see now, I think we're starting to see maybe a little bit of strategy call. You see how much that 8 car separated off of the 1. So I was just wondering there, maybe Raymond would try to sneak in there, but now as I say that, they kind of get reformed on the inside groove there. But now look at that gap. I think that was kind of what we talked about, the 87.03 big push there. And so that's now going to get these top 4 on the inside line, kind of like we talked about, like we kind of expected, really. So now this opens the window now for Matt Wagner. Does he maybe get that push from Eric Galori? As I say that, nope, he does not. So he gets a little helping hand from Dale Willoughby. He's going to sneak right in front of him. So now this is going to kind of give a green light for that top line. I saw Charles Johnson peek out for just a moment. I'm going to be watching that 9 car, like we talked about, Dale. Maybe this is where Charles is going to try to maybe make that move to the top side if Matt Wagner can kind of get that push that he needs from in that 11 car, maybe from that 14 here, Robbie Richards.
Yeah, and I've never talked to Charles about that, but he just watching enough of these races, he's definitely a guy, like, he's not scared of getting up and running in the middle, running up against the wall. When I think about, hey, who's going to be the first one to do it, Charles Johnson is always on the top of that list.
Yeah, no, he kind of has that same mindset of Matt Wagner. So he's never one to just sit and ride. He wants to push forward and say, as I say that, here comes our first set of pit stops, and it's going to be Raymond Rittenauer leading them in. So you see, you got that group of 6 drivers here, and so far it looks like a pretty clean entry for all of them there. Everybody was able to space apart nicely. So that's going to say, with Matt Wagner's move there to that outside, he is going to take over the race lead with that help from Robbie Richards there. Charles Johnson going to cycle through into 3rd. And you see a few drivers starting to move a little bit top as well, try to push that push here while they have the opportunity. You see Quabi Brooks on the 53. He's running the top, and he's got the 89 of Matt Quick. Matt's trying to give him a big push here down the back, seeing if they can kind of work their way forward. And you can see the momentum that they've got right now on this inside line.
I'm kind of surprised that the 76 didn't come with them, honestly.
I'm wondering if Jim maybe doesn't feel like he's safe on fuel compared to those guys. So we'll see if anybody ducks off. And nope, they still stay out here. So you're right, though. I mean, and right now, I mean, Matt Quick and Quabi Brooks. I mean, Matt Quick is just giving the 53 just a huge push here. Now the question is, can they both clear that inside line or not? Looks like they just have cleared. So yes, now Quabi Brooks going to take the point there with that big push from Matt Quick. I'm going to get those names right eventually. That's going to put Matt Quick now into P2, Matt Wagner P3. You're right though. That's kind of, you would have thought that would have been a perfect opportunity for Jim there to jump up top, get that push, and try to get that lap lead like we talked about.
And now you got Todd Siebels and Bud Steele up trying the top side. They just watched what the Matts could do. I'm sorry, Matt Quick and Quabi Brooks could do. So they're up here going to try the same thing.
Yeah, we got a few pit stops coming now. You see Quabi Brooks, he does hit pit road. I say, a few drivers hitting a little aggressive there. Hopefully everybody got down the speed there. But what that did do, you see the one driver here that's going to stretch that fuel like we talked about week in and week out, Matt Quick. He is going to get that bonus point there, lap led this time around. So the 89 is going to lead that lap. He's got the 83 of Jack Walls behind him. Then you got Bud Steele and Todd Siebels, Dean Wilkinson right there. So these drivers all, right now they're on lap 24. So this would put him right on the absolute edge here, Dale. This would be coming to lap 25. So I don't know if that's going to be doable or not, but it'll be interesting to see if they can make the strategy pan out.
Yeah, and Dean Wilkinson was almost caught real short there. He was back about a second from this group, but it took him a little longer to form up than it may had if it was a group of teammates. So it kind of saved Dean from losing a lot of time there coming down the backstretch.
Yeah, but say here comes that last group making their pit stops. Look, same thing. You see really nice spacing apart. So I'm going to jump to the pit exit because Quabi Brooks had a great pit stop here, Dale. I mean, look at the gap he's gotten these guys behind him. And so I think with what this is going to do, I mean, it's unfortunate because he's stuck by himself right here. But I think he might be able to pick up enough momentum here where he should be able to tag on to this lead pack that's going to be coming around now by the 87 of Raymond Rittenauer leading that pack. I see they're coming with a huge head of steam here. They're going to jump to the top side, I believe, and most likely, and go right around the 53 here. But for Quabi, actually I say that Quabi's going to jump top here not to kind of impede things. But he should be able to tag onto the back of these. So I'll say everybody's right now these pit cycles, everybody's kind of trying to get right back onto par with one another here.
Yeah, sometimes you can just be too good, and that's exactly what happened there with the 53. But he kind of landed in a good position. He's going to be here between Michael Spell and Eric Flory. So I think it's going to work out.
Yeah, so now here comes that last group that I just pitted. So you see Matt Quick, he's leading that group now. So now for Matt, same thing. He's got to get through the gears as quick as possible as he sees all these cars just go on by him. So I think, again, he's going to be able to tag back onto the back of this group. So, I mean, this might actually kind of go into what his plan was here. So say he can get right back into this inside line, grab the draft, and kind of go right back to fuel saving. Maybe he can stretch that number. So we're going to cross here. We got 50 to go at the line. It's going to be, I believe, Raymond Rittenauer leading that last lap. So 25 down, 50 to go here at Daytona. He's got Gabe Butler, Kevin Hash right behind him in second and third. So right now, I think really the only leaders we had is through the pit stop cycles. It's been the 87 now, Raymond Rittenauer. Gabe Butler obviously leading that whole first portion of the race. And then we had Quabi Brooks and Matt Quick getting a couple laps led themselves here. So right now, say kind of advantage on the point side of things for the edge of the playoffs is going to be going to Matt Quick with that lap led, though, over Jim Brooks.
Yeah, you guys got some drivers I'm looking at that may be in trouble back here, starting with that 17th position, 83 of Jack Walls, Dean Wilkinson behind him. That they're really going to have to get this thing organized quick. And I think it's a lost cause at this point for the 86 of Kyle Hess. He has completely lost the draft. Yeah,
Kyle Hess is way out of it. So I'm trying to look at his pit stop to see if it was something that had happened to him, and I think maybe just made a mistake somewhere. But you see, yeah, these guys are starting to finally get formed with one another, but you can see that gap between them. So I'm trying to look at the gap between Jack Walls and I believe it's Todd Merkel, the last car in this lead pack here right now. Actually, now it's the 45 of Todd Siebel. Sorry. So from Jack Walls to Todd Siebel, it's about a second and a half if I'm reading the numbers correctly. And so if they can lock on, they can kind of get that tandem draft going. They could find a way to push back up, but they're going to have to really hustle it here.
Yeah, they really need John Brill, Nick Manfredi, and Bud Steele to push up to them. The 5-car group, they could definitely make it happen. We've seen it many times with the front runners here today. They start from the pits or they roll to the back, and then a group of 5 or 6 of them just completely obliterates everybody on the high side of the racetrack.
Yeah, I think it's mission accomplished, though, for Jack Walls and Dean Wilkinson there, though, Dale. Last time by, they were about a half a second quicker than the guys in front of them. So Jack ran a 46.90 Dean Wilkinson ran a 46.73 compared to the leaders in the 47s. You can see they are there. So they were able to lock on together, make that tandem push, and then get right back to this lead pack. So like you said, they were in that danger zone and they were able to fight their way out of it.
I was watching Jack real close. I was wondering if he was going to try to gain some extra positions there because they had plenty of momentum, but they elected to fall back in behind the 45 car and just kind of hold what they have.
Yeah, actually noticing 6 of Bud Steele. He's hitting pit road here. This is not a scheduled stop by any means. So not sure if maybe some damage or something happened to that 6 car, but he is down and in the pits here. And trying to see if there's anything going on. Looks like just a splash of fuel going in. So I think Bud actually might be trying to go off strategy here, where he's just going to put that little bit of splash here where he can make it to the end on one more stop from there. So at this point I got to assume that's what the plan is for him. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to put him in any of a better position there. So, but you never know. We'll have to wait and see. Say maybe he's just trying something a little different. Because I say maybe he was going to see where he cycled out with the rest of the field, but right now I say he's exiting the pits here out of 2.
Yeah, he actually looks like he just lost it there on the bottom, the apron, trying to get out of pit.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, I can see he's definitely down on pace coming out of the pits. So that's going to hurt him a lot more because now he's not even going to grab the back of these guys. So he's going to basically fall back to where he was originally, minus a lap, unfortunately. So yeah, it's going to be a huge loss there for Bud Steele. He's going to have to pretty much has a huge hill to climb now to get back up into this one. So right now these things are starting to settle back out front. You see everybody's kind of settled in here, just going single file, saving fuel. So based on that, the drivers that we'll be watching on the fuel side of things, I mean, the first one's going to be the 89 Matt Quick. He's gone the furthest of anybody on that fuel mileage in the 89 car. He's got 3 laps advantage over the lead pack here. 2 laps advantage over Michael Spell, Charles Johnson, Matt Wagner, and actually, yeah, no, I'm sorry, 1 lap above those guys. So right now, yeah, so basically the top, looks like the top 6 drivers from Raymond Rittenauer to Eric Laurie, they all pitted 10 laps ago, and then Michael Spell on back all pitted 8 laps ago. And then I'll say in that lead pack, Matt Quick, he also pitted 7 laps ago, just 1 lap advantage. Also, Jack Walls, Dean Wilkinson, and Todd Siebels are in that same group as Matt Quick. So it'll be interesting to see if Matt's going to try to keep stretching that fuel number throughout this run here.
Everybody's pretty complacent. They seem to be happy with what's going on. Looks like a 14 might be looking high there, but single file all the way back, which is a little different than what the first section of this race was.
Yeah, completely different than what we've seen before. So I mean, we'll take advantage of it here. Let's go ahead and kind of show off some of the paint schemes we got on these cars. So I'll say we'll start things off with Raymond Rittenauer in the 87 car leading the way here. So Raymond started second, currently in the lead. Behind him, you got that one of Gabe Butler. So again, he is one of those playoff drivers trying to get into that top 4. I say he's even got that trophy on the B pillar of his car. So he's going for it there. I say that's probably from a previous championship that he's won over here at Area 51. I say he's one of those drivers you always have to watch out for. Behind him, you got Kevin Hash in the 03. He's got that strip of glitter on the side there, Dale. We talked to him about that before. Behind him, the 8 of Jude Conrad in the 4th spot. And then in 5th is the 7 of Dale Willoughby with that Michelob Ultra paint scheme. And then Eric Laurie in the 071. I say, looks like I think Eric's got maybe did an upgrade on his numbers on the side of that thing. It looks like a new number font. Say looking pretty good out of that 071. So Eric Laurie, also one of our playoff contenders. However, I think we're going to be cut short here, Dale, because there's somebody who wasn't willing to ride single file, and that's a big shocker to us. It's going to be that 9 of Charles Johnson.
Well, it started with Jack Walls in the 55 Dean Wilkinson, and then Charles saw the run and decided that, hey, this is as good a time as any. And then if you look back, you got the 81 of Todd Merkel and the 20 of Alberto Lopez, who we haven't really talked about today. All these guys, saw what was happening, said, hey, it's go time.
Yeah, so they rode long enough to say, you know what, we don't want to play this fuel save game. We want to go. And so, yeah, so say that 9 Charles Johnson, he's going to try to work this top side. Like you said, he's got the 83 of Jack Walls behind him. Saying that's one of those things, too, where, like we mentioned, Jack Walls, he hasn't been racing much at all this season. So, I say Charles and Jack, they like to race with one another. And so I'm sure Charles saw the 83 car coming up. He's like, hey, I know this game. Let's do it. So yeah, so they got a good little push here on that outside row with those 4 cars here, pretty locked on well together here, and it looks like Charles is going to get the just get the lead there at the line. But now the next push is going to have to be to try to see if he can clear that number 87, Raymond Rittenauer, which he will be able to do. But unfortunately, at the moment, I was going to say Jack Wall's not able to, but actually Jack's got other ideas here. I think Dale say he's going to keep that momentum going on that top side, and he's going to look for the lead here in the 83.
Yeah, it's his first race back. We haven't seen Jack in quite a while, so he definitely wants to get up here, get some TV time, and possibly get interviewed by you here at the end of this thing.
Yeah, so Jack always loves to kind of shout out the Pennzoil sponsorship on that car. So he's going to take the point here. We'll see if, I'll say the one that got left out there is Alberto Lopez. If he can pull this off, he could squeeze to the inside right here behind the 9 of Charles Johnson. So right now he's still kind of hugging the outside line. Now he's going to drop in, it looks like. So yeah, so big moves by those guys. So, well, we can kind of adjust things a little bit. We'll kind of go back to where we left off here. So now you got our race leader is going to be that number 83 of Jack Walls. And right behind him, the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. We mentioned 81 Todd Merkley. He's one of our playoff contenders. So, I mean, he's definitely going to be one of those drivers that needs to try to get up to the front. So he's doing exactly what he has to do there. You got the 9 of Charles Johnson. We saw him lead that push on that outside group. And like you mentioned, Dale, we haven't really talked about Alberto Lopez too much tonight. But say he's had some good races lately, and say now he's been able to bump himself up into that top 5 using that outside line when he saw that big move happen.
Yeah, it was really impressive when you think about what those guys just did. They just cleared 5 cars in front of the toughest guys, in my opinion, in this series, and they did it with ease.
Yeah, so that was a big move by those guys, and I think one of those drivers is looking and there's like, you know what, I think I need to do this too, because here comes Matt Quick. He's jumped to the top. He's kind of backed off the fuel save plan. He's got that 45 of Todd Siebel's working behind him there. So Todd, you can see he's locked back onto the back of that Grumpy Cat 89 of Matt Quick. And so they're going to try to do the same thing here. You can see Matt's gotten up to about the 7 car there of Dale Willoughby, so that's right around the top 10. But I have to be careful. You see one way up high here in 1 and 2, trying to catch it's the 86 of Kyle Hess. We mentioned him having lost the draft a little earlier, so he's going to get to the top side, get out of the way. It always gets a little tense when that happens, but they're able to make it work. And he saw Matt Quick found a nice little opening there right in front of that 071 of Eric Laurie, and he wasted no time to jump in there.
Did you see that side draft that Todd Siebel just used to get around Matt Quick by himself?
I did not. I was focused on the little squeeze play by the 89 car. But I mean, that's a good point. I mean, we talked about the side draft before with the Cup cars, but say we kind of ignored it on the Xfinity side of things. But you're right, though. I think there is still a little bit still on the Xfinity side of things as well. I'll say, unfortunately, though, now with Todd Siebel's having zero help here, he's unfortunately going to kind of fall back to the end of this lead pack, it looks like.
Yeah, we were forced to talk about it a lot on the Cup cars. And I really, really think that Charles Johnson had it figured out. I watched him just pick people apart on multiple occasions by side drafting up, getting them slowed down and then jumping in front of them. I wonder, just watching what the 45 did there, I wonder if it's possible in these Xfinity cars. It's nothing I've ever tried, but if I'm Charles Johnson and I know personally that he can do it, because I noticed him do it multiple times, that might be something I think about at the end of this race.
Yeah, it's a really good point, and you're exactly right. Say Charles was one of the few that was willing to try the side draft to try to move your way forward. Say it's risky to do, but if you do it and do it right, I mean, you can definitely start kind of picking positions off little by little. But as I say that, you see we got some pit stops going on here. This is going to be the second set of stops here for some of those guys. You see Matt Quick, actually, he's joined this group as well. So we got a pretty big group here. We've got Raymond Rittenauer, Gabe Butler, Kevin Hash, Dude Conrad, Dale Willoughby, Matt Quick, and Eric Laurie. They're all pitting here with 36 to go. This is on lap 19 of this run. So I think this is kind of showing exactly what they have planned. I mean, just look at the unison there of all those drivers hitting their pit box there. And so you can see this a very well coordinated effort for these guys.
I'm kind of surprised that Matt Quick came in that time, honestly.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe Matt was realizing that field number that he was aiming for just wasn't going to happen there. So he decided to alternate his strategy and decided to hop in with those guys. So what I'm seeing here, Dale, is basically, so we're going to be pitting with 30. They pitted at 36 to go. So to me, that means they're going to basically run this 18 and 18 for that final fuel run. And I wonder if maybe that's that magic 1 can of fuel window. So it's gonna be really intriguing to see kind of how things respond. And I was saying this is where this lead pack group now, again, still being led by Jack Wells. They're going to have to step their game up a little bit. They're going to have to run out a little bit faster here. As you see the 55 Dean Wilkinson, he's going to jump to the top and hand things over to Todd Merkel, it looks like, to be the pusher. But they're going to have to be on the top of their game, though, because we know how fast some of these guys like Gabe Butler, Raymond Rittenauer and company, how well they push and draft as a team. These guys have to try to match that, if not beat it here, because otherwise this could kind of put them in a tough spot if we stay green.
Yeah, I mean, they group up. They're great at what they do. They practice all the time, but we've seen them get beat by, 2-car teams in the past with Quabi and Jim Brooks, pushing each other to wins. And then other cars just power by them when things get a little disorganized. So, I mean, it's definitely possible that they organize and just march on the field, but we've also seen it happen the other way.
Yes, and that's where the strategy kind of comes into play. So we'll see on this inside, the second group that we talked about. You see how they're all locked on the inside. And actually, you see the 8-car of Dude Conrad. He's going to hit the pits. I'm wondering, he may have had a pit penalty there. So unfortunately, he's going to have to duck off there, which is going to drop one of their cars in that lead pack draft. Now I think the big thing they're going to be here to watch is going to be lap times. And yeah, right off the bat, I mean, they're definitely kind of flexing their muscle right away here, Dale. Gabe Butler last time around was a 47.74. Our leaders were running a 48.611. So I mean, that's almost a full second in just that one lap that they got back up to speed.
Yeah, and I mean that's about as good as it's ever going to get at a super speedway. If you're a second faster than the main pack, you're really putting it down.
Yes, I mean this is where, and that's where and there's those drivers that you kind of have to wonder, like, okay, do I need to kind of alternate my strategy? Like maybe if you were one of those drivers in the mix there, like Todd Merkel or Jim Brooks or something like that, maybe you thought about jumping in with him. Actually, as I say that, here comes, I think, the reaction to that. As you see a couple drivers, it looked like a little bit of potential contact there as they woed down. Looks like they're going to get away with it, though. So you've got Quabi Brooks, Matt Wagner, Michael Spell, Robbie Richards, Jim Brooks all hitting the pits here. So they're kind of adjusting their strategy, I think, as well. They're hitting here with 32 to go. And I think, okay, yeah, Michael did hit his pit box there. So that's going to say, so now we're going to have basically 3 differing strategies throughout this field run, it looks like.
I think Quabi Brooks might have got a little damage on that. It's that, or it might just be how the light's in it, but if there wasn't contact there, it was about as close as you could ever get.
Yeah, again, he gets a great pit stop here. He's able to cycle through. And so now we're going to see, how does he relate to these guys that had just pitted? Because you can see now Gabe Butler, he's jumping to the top, letting Raymond Rittenauer take over. Probably Raymond getting a little hot. You see Jim Brooks, Michael Spell leaving the pits as these guys are starting to cycle by them. And so Quabi's going to have to try to get through his gears quickly. You see a lot of movement. These drivers trying to merge back on track here. So Quabi might be on the edge of tagging onto the back of these guys, but he's going to have to really hustle to have any luck to grab onto the back. As you see, and they just cleared the 53 car. And the problem for him is he does not have any real close help behind him to try to keep that push going.
Yeah, when they came off the corners, about a 10-mile-an-hour difference between the one at Dude Conrad and the 53 at Quabi Brooks. I mean, Quabi just doesn't have the help he needs right now, and it's kind of a ways back to that 14 car right behind him.
Yeah, so I'm saying it looks like Quabi might be dropping back to that 14 of Robbie Richards to see if they can lock on, maybe do that tandem to the front pack again. So right now, we got those guys that we talked about that haven't pitted yet. Again, so right now we've got 6 of them in this lead pack here. You've got Jack Walls, Todd Merkel, Charles Johnson, Alberto Lopez, Todd Siebels, and Dean Wilkinson. So these are 1st through 6th. And then you have 2 drivers that are way off the back that haven't pitted either yet. The 29 of Nick Manfredi and John Brill. And actually, as I say that, they're hitting pit road now. So based on their pit stop here coming at 22, I suspect we're going to see the remainder of these 6 cars probably having to hit pit road here at 30 to go this time around.
Yeah, and it's going to put them short. I mean, I thought Matt Quick might have been on the winning strategy there, able to stop it, but it doesn't look like it's going to be possible today.
And it looks like actually those guys are going to stretch their field a little more. So say we're now at 29 to go. They still stay out. We're going to go back and check on Quabi Brooks because he is still within reaching distance here, Dale, and so is the 14 of Robbie Richards. I think if Quabi can get just that little bit closer, but I think he's right in the window here. We'll hop on board with him in that 53 car, but I think he's going to be able to close the gap here and get to the back of that one of Gabe Butler. So I'll say right now he's going to feel like the odd man out of that group, but I'll say he's done a really good job pitting later and still being able to kind of keep up with that lead pack.
Yeah, but if you're going to be the third wheel in a group of guys, this is the group you want to be with.
So yeah, Quabi's going to grab on and say the 14. It's not all said and done for him yet either. For Robbie Richards, to say watching his lap times, and actually that last time by he ran a 46.970. Leaders were in the 47.2s. So it is within reach. I say it might be possible. And we talked about the fuel window strategy or fuel saving strategy side of things here. We got Todd Siebels. We're at 28 to go. He stays out. He's the last car to make this pit stop. So he's going to try to stretch his fuel further than anybody here. So while the pit stops are happening, that's going to cycle things around. I say Raymond Rittenauer right now leading that pack with Matt Quick right to his bumper. And you're going to see those guys that waited so long to pit. I say they're just starting to get out of the pits and start getting up to speed. And you can already see the lead pack just kind of blowing on by him here. The one difference, though, again, Dale, is say these guys have had now 9 laps on their fuel. So these guys are going to be coming out now with pretty much with a full tank of fuel. So they're only going to need a splash to get to the end of this race here. So I think that could also come into play here tonight as well. And I actually do need to mention that 14 Robbie Richards, he has caught these guys as well.
Yeah, I was watching them exit pit road. Jack Walls got a little loose there, ended up in the grass. So he is very, very slow just now making it to the backstretch. Yeah,
unfortunately, they lost a lot of positions there. And so we mentioned that other group that wasn't able to keep up with Quabi and them. You can see they're in this group now with Todd Merkel. You got Matt Wagner, Jim Brooks, Alberto Lopez also. So yes, right now you got those group of 6, and right now they're kind of all doubled up here, so they're going to need to try to figure out what's going to be their best strategy to kind of make their fastest laps here. Because right now, again, say they're just not running the laps that these lead pack drivers are at the moment.
Yeah, they really need to get down, get in a single file, run the bottom, do whatever they can to see real tight squeeze. Oh, a little contact, it looked like between Michael Spell and 45 maybe.
Yeah, say Michael, he almost went to the road course chicane there, so now he's going to have to try to see if he can catch back up to these guys. And again, I think with them running 2x2, might have a chance to do so. Let's say he's going to have to, again, kind of run perfect laps here to try to get to the back of these guys to not lose this lead pack. But I say right now, just looking at the mile an hour from him, right now we're about 182, 183 there. And Jim and them are running in the 189, so it's gonna be tough sledding there. So say we're gonna jump back though to our lead pack. So right now we've actually got now 3 cars on the back of these guys. So we mentioned Quabi Brooks and the 14 of Robbie Richards. Now joining the back of that group is also the 6 of Bud Steele. He's gonna have to pit very soon. But he could, depending on how things cycle through, I mean, he could play a role in this one as well, Dale. Maybe he can wind up pushing some of his teammates there in that 53 car. Maybe so we've seen Bud push Jim to a win before, so maybe he can be in a position to help Quabi as well tonight.
Yeah, I mean they're where they need to be to do that. I was watching Dale Willoughby push to 89 and Matt Quicker, and Dale must have got hot very quick as he was right on Matt's bumper and just shot to the outside. So I think that car was at its limit on the oil temperature.
Yeah, so you got to be careful there. So right now, and say on the playoff side of things here, Dale, you got Matt Quick, Kevin Hash, Eric Laurie in the top 3, all playoff contenders. We mentioned Gabe Butler, obviously. He's led a lot of laps in the 1 car. He sits in 6th currently. So say if I'm Eric Laurie here and Kevin Hash, I want to get a lap led. I don't know if they've led a lap or not yet through all this cycle here. But you want to make sure you get yourself that bonus point to kind of give yourself an opportunity to not be in a bad spot. As I said, there goes Bud Steele. He's going to have to make his pit stop here. And he's going to pay here, Dale, at 24 to go. So he might be able to make it to the end here if he can kind of conserve that fuel all the way to the end.
Yeah, and really that's his only chance is he's a lap down. So I think he might be playing it right. It's just a matter of time at this point.
And so the other thing I'm watching here, again, we're watching lap times now. And so our second group now, I believe, is being led by the 81 of Todd Merkel, and it is. That last time by, Dale, they were about a half a second, 0.6 of a second quicker. It was a 47.4 compared to Matt Quick's 48.0. I say they've got about 5 seconds to get to the back of that draft. But I mean, if they keep pushing the laps that they're doing right now, this is a very there's still definitely some possibility that they can make something happen here.
Yeah, and I mean it might be the right move. I mean, maybe that was really part of the plan once they got organized. Is hey, we just see what we can do together, and then put that in the back pocket for 5 or 10 laps to go.
Well, and the other point of this is these 3 drivers in the front of the second group, Charles Johnson, Alberto Lopez, Todd Merkel, they pitted 6 laps ago, Dale. The guys up front, they pitted 14 laps ago. So these guys can put basically 8 less laps of fuel in their tanks to make it to the end. And I mean, that's going to probably be a handful of gallons. I mean, that can save you a couple of seconds right there. So if they play their cards right, if we do stay caution free and go green here, they play their cards right, this could still be in the running here for these guys to be there at the end. Like I said, especially with A, the lap times they're running, and then B, just the fuel strategy that they're playing right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's the interesting thing about these races for me is everybody approaches them so differently in how they plan their pit stops, how they race the track and the other cars. So that's really what I enjoy, is see how the whole puzzle fits together.
Yes, and the other drivers that we haven't really mentioned about the fuel strategies is the 53 and the 14. Quabi Brooks, Robbie Richards, they're in this lead pack, so they're right with our leaders here. They pitted 4 laps later, so I mean, it's not a huge difference between them. But again, I mean, that little bit, I mean, that could be something where maybe they can cycle out in front. If they can have a solid pit stop with each other, maybe they can make something happen as well going to the end of this one. So looks like Michael Spell has hit pit road. Unfortunately, after that little bit of a contact off-track excursion, he did lose that draft. He's going to go ahead and make his final pit stop here with 21 to go. While our leaders here and saying still watching lap times, and that last time by they were pretty equal between the front group and the group behind. Actually, last time by they must have done something, because actually Charles Johnson and they lost a lot of time there. Let me go back and see where they are now. Oh yeah, they're back double file here, and that's never going to work.
Yeah, that front group's taking pit road right now. Real tight getting down there.
Yeah, it looks like they all hit their marks there. You see Robbie Richards, he decided to jump in with him. Quabi Brooks going on the alternate strategy. This is risky for Quabi because, again, he's going to be pretty much pitting possibly by himself. He's going to now have John Brill and Nick Manfredi with him. And looking at their pit strategies, looks like they have a little bit more fuel than that than the 53 car, so that could work out here. But again, you can see these guys not locking onto one another. They're all kind of double file with each other here. I think trying to fight to be that lucky dog, so they got to be careful about this as well. So right now the 53 is our race leader as things run, but again, I think just with he's not really getting that push he needs, and I think, yeah, I was gonna say, I think he's gonna know he's gonna have to duck in here and make this last pit stop. Plus side is he's by himself, he can be a little more aggressive. Looks like he got it nice and clean there. So now things are gonna cycle around. We're gonna see, I believe it's gonna bring Charles Johnson to the point, and they have singled back out here again, Dale. So we'll have to wait for everybody to get cycled back out and see what the lap times are looking like. But for that group that made their last stop with Kevin Hash and company, they are a little separated here, but let's say they're starting to reorganize. And do need to mention Robbie Richards did have a good stop there. He is right on the back of these guys as well.
I was watching Quabi Brooks' pit stop. His pit crew has been on fire today.
Yeah, so I'm going to watch from the back here as we'll watch Quabi Brooks leave pit road right now in that 53. The car behind him, that's the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. He's not worried about that guy, actually. The cars he's worried about. You can see him now starting to form up on the inside line. You can see them all lined up to one another in single file. If Quabi could tag on, like if he could hit that 55, it's like, hey, just hold up a little bit, pick me up. So you see he tried to grab that draft of Dean Wilkinson as quick as he could. Couldn't do it here. So he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck, unfortunately, for these guys once they get to him with that head of steam. But you're right, I mean, he has been nailing those pit stops, just unfortunately has not had the friends to help him to make these pit stops, unfortunately, happen, to kind of try to see if he can sneak away from these guys at the end.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It would have been better for Dean to maybe lift a little bit, let him catch up, because now Dean's really in the same position that Quabi is. He's a sitting duck. They're just going to drive right by him.
Yeah, you can see they're all going to jump to the outside of that 53 car. So Quabi's best chance here is if he can kind of sniff the draft of some of these guys and maybe not fall to the very back of this line. But right now you can see just everybody's got that momentum going. Here comes Charles Johnson just exiting the pits. I don't think he's going to be able to tag onto the back of them. He kind of went off cycle sequence a little bit in that 9 car. So you see Quabi's going to tag onto the back of the 55 here of Dean Wilkinson to make sure he stays with this lead pack. So I think he should be in good shape as well. So we'll now jump over to our race leaders, which is the 11 of Matt Wagner. But as I said, actually it looks like Jim Brooks is going to sneak to the inside, take the point. And this is crucial for Jim. We mentioned Dale. He needs to get that bonus point, get that lap led, because right now he's kind of in a tough position because he's got more fuel to take than Todd Merkel, Alberto Lopez, and those guys. So say Jim's going to need to get that bonus point, though, in that 76 car, get a lap led, and then from there, say it's going to kind of just be kind of see where those chips fall at the end of this one.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to applaud him. He's done very well this season. You got to win. I mean, all around for the 76 has been a great season, and to be where he is in the points, I mean, it's even if it does end today, it's been a heck of a run for him.
Yeah, so I mean, he's been in contention. You see, he's going to kind of jump to the top now. Todd Merkel is going to take the point. I say same thing for Todd. I mean, Todd needs to try to get a lap led as well. I'm not sure if he's got one or not yet, so I'll say it's going to also be crucial for Todd Merkel to get a lap led. As you see, Matt's going to let Jim slide back in there. I'll say the problem is with them kind of jumping around like this, they've definitely been losing a lot of time to our drivers that have pitted already. Last time by, they were actually about a full second slower, but it looks like now we're going to get some pit stops for them. So you got Jim Brooks, Matt Wagner, Alberto Lopez, Nick Manfredi's in there as well. I believe that's John Brill right behind him as well. So yeah, they got a good group of cars here pitting. And now the question, of course, is going to be to see how and where they cycle out. But just based on that last lap time, I think they're going to be unfortunately in a pretty tough spot.
I tell you, I'm not worried. Like, I'm watching Quabi Brooks. I'm watching how he's running, and I think he's got plans here. I mean, we're down to 15 laps. I think Quabi's got something up his sleeve.
Yeah, so there goes Jim Brooks, Matt Wagner leaving the pits, but there goes the guys around him. So now it's kind of what I was worried about, that distance that they had coming into it. And then those kind of couple laps where they're running a little slower, it's going to definitely get them out of this lead pack here. Wasn't sure if they'd have a chance to get back at it or not. So now cycling through, it's actually just 2 drivers here up front. Say we talked about the 45 of Todd Siebels. He right now is the first car, 1 down. He did make his final pit stop, so he's good to go to the end. And Todd Merkel, he can run probably another at least 5, I don't know, maybe 5 to 8 more laps in that 81 car. Saying he can take a little less fuel here, so I'm not sure what you do here if you're Todd. I mean, because right now they are not tandeming, so he's not getting the lap times he needs. So that last lap, he was actually only a 49.24 compared to the group behind in the 47.7s. So that's a second and a half. That's not going to cut it. And yeah, I'm looking, like you mentioned about Quabi Brooks maybe having some strategies. At some point, he's going to see that 55 Dean Wilkinson's going to probably have to pit in, I believe, maybe about 5, maybe 6 more laps, depending on what his fuel mileage is looking like. So he's going to have that position once pit stops happen. And then from there, the problem for Quabi is, look where the 14 of Robbie Richards is. He's in that 3rd position in this group. He's done a really good job of positioning himself through that pit stop cycle. The problem is to say, I feel like those are the 2 guys that could work together to make something happen. But they're so spread apart here that it's going to be really difficult for them to try to get locked onto each other.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're talking to each other, but it might be a good idea for Robbie Richards to just fall back right now so they can link up. So when the time comes, they can go for it.
Yeah, did he mention here comes Todd Merkel? He's going to pit here at 12 to go. You can see just a pretty quick splash of fuel waiting for it. Now he's down and away. But again, though, losing so much time when he was by himself there, and say as he comes out of the pits, you're going to see that field already going by him as he just starts to grab in gears. His best hope here is if he can get out of the pits quickly, he might be able to tag on to this group here. You've got Charles Johnson there, Jack Walls, Bud Steele, Kyle Hess, Jim Brooks, and Matt Wagner. That's going to be his best shot for the group to latch onto. So while they're coming through 1 and 2 here, he is just now coming out of 2. I don't think he's going to have the pace here to grab onto the back of them, Dale.
Yeah, it's going to be a real tough break.
He is going to have help behind him. You see he's got a few guys there a little further back. I think that was Alberto Lopez, Nick Manfredi. So he's going to have some help there, but obviously you want to be in that group ahead, because now he's going to have to fall about 5 more seconds back to them. So we'll jump back up to the point, though, because I think right now it's still Dale Willoughby leading the way here. So I say everybody's right now, again, kind of, I think, singled out with one another, trying to basically run these best lap times they can to have a chance here at the end. But I say looking to lap times, our leaders are in the low 43s right now, whereas the rest of the field are kind of in the, low 47s, 47.3s, whereas the group behind, you can see now just kind of picturing in there, are in the high 47s. So I say these guys are starting to stretch that lead out, unfortunately, for that group behind.
Yeah, and when you look at them, they're not super aggressive. I mean, they're not. Everybody's not really bunched up that tight. I mean, there's a decent gap between the 87 and the 03, and then back to the 071. They're just kind of out here running around, and it's working.
Yeah, I think right now they're not wanting to mess around too much and kind of risk anything until it's really time to go. However, I say Quabi Brooks, we mentioned he's going to probably want to try to make a move at some point. You see him peak to the top. The problem is he's got nobody to go with him there. I mean, what he could do, though, I'm just now looking. Here comes Michael Spell in the 88 car. Let's say, unfortunately, Michael kind of got hosed with that contact, losing that pack that he was in. I'll say maybe Michael here could kind of play a little bit of helper for that 53. You see Quabi Brooks, I think, going to try to come up, basically pick up the draft of the 88, maybe try to help boost Michael a little bit to make sure he kind of can tag onto this lead pack. And maybe these two, we might see them lock on and try to make a big charge to the end.
Yeah, and Michael Spell remember something like that. You know, any driver would. That, hey, this guy jumped out of line and helped me. Is the 88 there? You definitely see he's going to be able to catch Dean Wilkinson, no problem.
Yeah, so yeah, probably making sure it's. I think that's exactly what it is here, Dale. And as you look already, Michael's wasting no time. He's going to jump right to the top. I mean, here comes another car, the 86 Kyle Hess. He's going to be coming up on these leaders as well. So I mean, this could come into play for some of these guys. We've seen before where drivers that might be a lap or more down, they can still have an outcome in this one. So I think for Quabi, the question is here. Do you want the 53 pushing the 88, or I mean, in my mind, you want the 88 pushing the 53 here, because that's going to be a position for Quabi versus Michael right now.
Yeah, the way I'm seeing it is, I don't care who pushes who as long as they can make it to the 14, because the rest of this, I mean, that's the only help they're going to have.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, and so now I'll be curious to see if they're able to pick up Kyle Hess as well. Like I said, unfortunately, Kyle, same thing for him. He's, I believe, 2 down here as leaders just go by him. It looks like they're going to try to squeeze him middle there, and yeah, they're going to jump him back. But same thing for Kyle. Kyle might try to tag onto these guys as well and kind of see what they can do with it. So right now they haven't made a huge gain. They're kind of slowly picking off a car or two at a time. But Quabi, as you see, just has not been able to lock onto the back of that 88 as of yet.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, it's not an easy task. He's closing the distance in a little bit, but I mean, if I'm Michael Spell, I'd probably be resting my foot on that brake just to make sure that there's no gap between us.
Yeah, so it might also just be they're not really ready to make the full charge as of yet, because we still got 7 to go here. And the other thing that could throw, say, don't want to commentators curse anything, but things that can throw a big wrench into this, if it gets a little bit dicier, if we wind up seeing a caution, have these guys accounted for it, because we have up to 3 attempts of one. And I mean, that could definitely change the whole complexion of this race here tonight.
Yeah, it's a big racetrack, so if you add on 3 extra laps, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, saying if you wind up getting all 3 of them, which we have not really seen very often, but if you did, I mean, I'll say that you're going to be in the double digits extra laps. As you see, there goes Dean Wilkinson, hits the pits from the top 10 there. So unfortunately, it just wasn't on the right pit cycle there. Jack Wall's doing the same in the 83. So now you see Michael Spell going way high there in 88. Quabi Brooks is going to kind of take a middle 3 here through 1 and 2. I think this is where we're going to see the swapper. I think this is where now I think Michael's going to try to tag onto the back of Quabi. I think this is to me, this is where you want this position, because this is where it gives the 53 an opportunity to either win or maybe get a top 3 if they can lock on and make some moves here at the end.
Yeah, and you've mentioned him a couple times, but Kyle Hess is back there too. I mean, he's still in the draft. He can get up there and help that top line, make some forward momentum.
Yeah, you're right though. I think the one we got to watch though, I think it's going to be that 12, or actually 14, I should say tonight, of Robbie Richards. If Robbie if he sees these guys make the move, I mean, I think at some point he might be able to do the same here. But right now, these guys again, they just haven't been able to really lock onto one another. We got 5 to go here. So up front, Dale will be pretty much controlling this whole second portion of the race after the pit stop cycles have happened. I'm watching Gabe Butler. He's holding in second position, so he's doing a great job for himself in that to get to that final 4. Matt Quick as well in the 89. He is in 4th position. And then you got Kevin Hash in 6th, Eric Laurie in 7th. So as you see, it's going to get a little dicey here as they have to try to get around some lap traffic there. So we're going to do a quick 3 wide there. But you see they did a great job giving everybody some room. That top line is really starting to move now, though, Dale. They've been able to get to about that 4th position right behind Robbie Richards. Let's see if Robbie, yep, here comes Robbie. He's peeking. And Robbie Richards, he's going to join the party as well in that 14 car. He wants to be the one to lead this outside line to see if he can try to get this win. But we can see they kind of lost organization there. Oh, a little bit of contact. More contact. Oh, we got contact. Yellow is out here, Dale. There's no way that's going to stay green. We got a bunch of cars involved here. Saying it just, yeah, unfortunate to say that I think just the kind of the momentum all got shuffled out a little bit. And so it's going to bring caution out here, and that's going to be with coming to 3 to go. So we talked about the fuel mileage green white checker, and that's exactly what we're going to see here.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that this, I mean, is a big deal for as far as championship points, namely being Jim Brooks.
Yeah, and so you can see the contact there between the 89 and the 14, and then at that point the 14 is just along for the ride. But yeah, so we see a few cars get some contact. The one question mark I have, Matt Quick, he gets through it, but you have to wonder, does he get, because we talk about bonus points as well, that may give him incident points, unfortunately. Say nothing really of his doing, but unfortunately that happens from time to time. The other driver involved, the 03 of Kevin Hash, that definitely was going to give him some incident points. So say unfortunately that's going to be a clean race gone for him. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to kind of be really all to play for here, and it's going to be very interesting to see what strategies we're going to see unfold here. If there's going to be any pit stops or anything like that from some of these lead drivers. So yeah,
that was about, watching that wreck. Raymond Rittenauer was about in the toughest position he could possibly be in there. Real tough break for him.
Yeah, so say this is where the fast pairs are going to be coming into play as well. Say some drivers are going to probably be using theirs here. Some might opt not to use it just in case there might be a green-white checkered incident as well. And it looks like everybody's feeling pretty confident on fuel. You see Eric Laurie, he's going to be the first of those on the lead pack to pit here. Kevin Hash in as well with Raymond Rittenauer, Todd Merkel, Alberto Lopez. However, the remainder of these guys, some of those guys we talked about, I wasn't sure about Quabi Brooks. I thought Quabi might actually pit. It looks like Jack Walls, he's going to get that lucky dog. Quabi Brooks, he stays out in the 53. I thought I saw him get a little bit of contact. Car doesn't look too bad. A little bit of left rear damage to the 53. Then right behind him, though, you got that 76 of Jim Brooks. He's going to restart in that 5th position. And we talked about that highest climber thing. And I mean, so right now you've got Matt Quick. He started 22nd. He's 3rd. Quabi Brooks is in 4th. Started 21st. Jim Brooks in 20th. In 5th. He started 20th. So it could really be all to play for here. It's going to basically for these guys is they're going to have to get a really good restart and try to lock on with one another somewhere. But I think an advantage that Jim might have is he does have a lot of friends around him here, Dale. He's got the 9 of Charles Johnson behind him. Matt Wagner's right there as well. And those guys could definitely wind up playing a role in helping that 76 get into that into the top 3 of the race and possibly the top 4 of the points.
Yeah, I mean, as far as friends, Quabi Brooks, Jim Brooks, Charles Johnson, Matt Wagner are all going to be starting right around each other. Whatever move they're going to make, they got to do it quick. But I think Jim might be in a good position.
You see the apron already being put to use here. These drivers trying to save every ounce of fuel that they can. You got Dale Willoughby, Gabe Butler running that apron there. So yeah, so basically Dale Willoughby's going to be your leader on this restart. You're going to have Gabe Butler to his outside. Matt Quick, I think crucially for Matt actually, he's going to restart 3rd here. And that inside line, I think that's going to be pretty critical on this one. I think that's going to be where you want to be and really need to be as we get the one to go here. So again, this is going to be green white checkered attempt number 1 because I mean right now we are on lap number 75. So we talked at the field numbers, Dale, and so we're already looking like we're already going over here by a couple laps. Right now it looks like we're going to go to about 78, I believe. And so I mean, some of these drivers just have to make sure they accounted for this one.
Yeah, just looking at the order here, you know, if Jim Brooks and Matt Wagner can get up on this restart, and I mean real early, they're going to be in great shape, I think. The only hitch is that one of Gabe Butler up there starting second.
Yeah, so this is where, I mean, again, so we know the 7, the 1 in the 89. We know that they work together. So I suspect we're going to see them have a pretty good restart here. Probably some pretty good organization. And so I think that's really what it's going to come down to in this potentially final restart. Is it's going to be kind of who's able to be the most organized, making this run to the finish. Do those top 3? Do they line up single file, or do they stay 2x2 to try to see if they can force these guys to stay behind them? And again, Daytona, you can run 3 wide. It's a little tight, but you can usually make it happen. But I can't count out Eric Laurie as well. He got that fast repair. He's now back in the 8th position, so he's on that top line like we talked about. I'm not going to count Eric Laurie. I think he could win and get in again, just like he did to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm pretty sure about is we're going to be 3 wide of the tri-oval when we come to the checkered flag.
It's going to get dicey. You see there, Dale Willoughby, he's going to go early. You see the one of Gabe Butler, he jumps in as quick as he can behind him. 89 and Matt Quick. So now you see everybody else starting to try to get formed here on the inside line. So you got Jim Brooks now leading that inside group here. Quabi Brooks behind him, Matt Wagner, Charles Johnson. So now he's just got to try to time this move and see if he can make this momentum happen when he needs to. Saying we'll see how aggressive everybody gets. There goes Jim Brooks. He's going to work the top side here. But there goes the one of Gabe Butler. He does not want to give that up here. We'll see what Jim does. He's going to stay behind the 1. He might be able to push the 1 to the point here. Like I said, it's all going to start kicking off. And there goes the 1. He has cleared the 7. Again, I mean, Gabe's not locked in here. And it looks like Gabe's going to stay on the top side for the moment here through turns 3 and 4. Now the next thing in contention for these drivers, they got to get to that white flag here to be able to race it out to the finish. Well, we got more green white checkers, and we're just about there. All right, white flag, Dale, 1 more to go. Right now, Gabe Butler leading the way on that top side. Jim Brooks able to find a peek to the inside, almost gets inside. We got contact behind. Oh, Matt Quick's in it. Quabi Brooks is able to clear. It's a big wreck behind him right now. Looks like only 3 cars are going to clear, maybe 5 cars now clear. So now Gabe Butler in a tough spot. How does he block these guys? You see they're moving all over the place trying to block one another here. Looks like Jim's just got to the inside of the 1 car entering turn number 3. I was saying it's going to be unfortunate for Gabe, but it's going to be kind of obvious here. Quabi Brooks is going to follow that 76 car. As I said, we talked about Jim pushing Quabi to win. Quabi's going to try to return the favor out of turn number 4. You see Matt Wagner creeping into the picture there. But Jim Brooks going to pick up the win here at Daytona and advance to that Final 4 at Talladega.
It doesn't get any better than that. The wreck is unfortunate, but when you think about earlier this season that Jim got to push his son, Quabi Brooks, to a win, and then in a cutoff position, Quabi got to push his father to the final race in the series, that is awesome.
Yeah, so there's going to be some very happy drivers. There's going to be some very upset drivers with the way that all came to an end here. So what we'll do is we'll go back. We're going to take a quick look at that last incident there come after the white flag had flown try to see if we can get an idea of what all went on there, because it was getting busy, it was getting dicey, and that's kind of all you can expect from these final laps here. So you see the 7 of Dale Willoughby. He's got the 89 of Matt Quick right on his rear bumper there. And it looks like, oh yeah, you see, I think just a bit of a too big of a push. The 89 got 7 a little bit loose, and then unfortunately, the 7's got to try to catch the car, and then from there, it's kind of all on from there. And so you see Charles Johnson, Dean Wilkinson's in there, Kevin Hash is in this as well. You see Eric Laurie's caught up in this one, Todd Merkel. So the points are going to be very intriguing here. I mean, I feel like obviously we know. We know Kevin Freese was advanced. We know Jim Brooks now with his one, he's going to advance. and then Gabe Butler. I think those are for sure going to be our top three. But who's going to be in fourth? I mean, this is going to be kind of all about who was able to, I think, get to that finish at the end first. And from what I'm looking at, it looks like Eric Laurie, he's able to kind of clear the chaos and get rolling again quickly. He's going to finish sixth. Maybe Eric Laurie points his way in here. So we'll have to definitely take a look at that one. Say we'll jump back a little bit further forward because this is then the battle coming to the checkered. I say Jim and Gabe there put on a hell of a fight there to try to. I say Gabe tried to block, but I say there's only so much you can do before you know that this is where Gabe's kind of in the opposite position there, where you don't have the help. So it's going to be interesting to see. And your brother's a little bit concerned about Matt Quick. We want to make sure he's okay. Luckily, I think Matt's probably doing pretty okay. He's probably mad, but I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of looking back at that, Jim made that big move to the inside in the one of Gabe Butler. Throwed a really nice block on him, and Jim lifted, and a lot of drivers wouldn't have lifted, and that just illustrates the amount of respect between pretty much all the drivers in this league, because Jim could have sent him off into the corner there, no problem, and the outcome would have definitely been different, but gave him the room and raced him clean down to the end.
Yeah, it was definitely a wild one there at the end. So we got to pull up some interviews because I'll say that was a hectic final laps. But Gabe Butler, he's going to pull off the third place finish here tonight. So we'll start off with that number one machine. Started on pole position, led a ton to begin the race there. I'll say it was looking pretty nice and calm, and looking like you guys are able to kind of just cruise your way to a pretty solid finish there at the end. And then say a couple of contacts there coming to about, I think it was about 3 to go. Saying that whole race kind of turned on its head there, and I'll say unfortunately this is one of the few times you've been kind of in the odd man place where you say you got kind of guys kind of teaming up against you versus you having some help behind you. So I mean, take us through those final couple of laps there through this race.
Yeah, like you said, we were cruising, and I'm not sure what happened on the initial caution there, and brought the whole field back together. Luckily, we had enough fuel to go. And then green, white, checkered. I think Matt had some damage. I didn't realize he had some damage, but I know some going backwards there with Dale. And I saw Jim coming on the outside, so I was trying to, defend that. And he did a good job getting around me fair and square, and got a great push from Kwabi, which I wouldn't expect anything less from the son.
That was what Dale and I were talking about. I'd say you're in that position. You look in your mirror. So usually you're used to seeing Kevin Freeze or a Matt Quick or someone like that behind you. You're like, okay, I feel pretty comfortable knowing that I got somebody who's going to lock on and push me. Say unfortunately didn't come to play tonight. I say you didn't have that helper at the end. I say unfortunately we saw that last lap contact. They all kind of got bottled up in that one. So say didn't have the help you need. So. But still, I mean, you bring it home in third. You win the pole. You definitely led laps there. I feel like you probably led the most laps as well. I mean, you were looking good in points. So I'm waiting for the official, but I'm pretty sure you're going to advance into that final four. I mean, what was your mindset going into tonight? Was it kind of just try to get max points, or kind of try to balance the risk versus reward throughout this one?
I kind of threw caution to the wind tonight a little bit. I went for the pole, and dude was able to keep me up front for a good few laps there at the beginning, so I may have ended up leading the most laps. Not sure. It's going to be close, and try and keep a clean car to get those points. So I didn't have any 4Xs, so that worked out, and P3 finish. So I should be safe. Unfortunately, some of the other team guys, they might be in a little bit of trouble there.
Yeah, it's going to be really close on points, I think, for that fourth and final spot. Like I said, obviously Kevin Freeze, so he got that win last week. So we were mentioning, I think he may have just drove past Daytona, went straight to Talladega, get ready for that finale over there. Say Jim with the win tonight, obviously that'll push him over to the final four. And said you were looking good, and I say it sounds like you did everything you needed to tonight to get kind of max points that you could. To advance you as well in that third spot. But yeah, I think it's going to be all to play for that final and fourth position. I'm going to keep an eye out on the points on that one. But Yeah, I mean, obviously a wild one tonight. So I'm going to preemptively congratulate you on that Final Four. And I mean, what are your thoughts going to Talladega for that championship race?
Same thing. Just kind of go for broke. Try and win it. But again, it's super speedway, so that strategy could change 20 laps in. So we'll see what happens. But congratulations to Big Jim on the win there.
Yeah, say before we let you go, say I know you got some plenty of good looking sponsors. Say it looks like update to the paint scheme as well is looking good there as well, Gabe. So definitely want to give you a chance. Any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that third place run tonight.
Big shout out to Dude. Initially there, he didn't have a mic working, so we're kind of doing hand signals. He fantastic job keeping me up front, and then the rest of the guys for racing all season. Team Boot Knocker. We do what we can, and Jim got the better of us tonight. So hopefully we can repay the favor next week.
Yeah, it was a great job by all of you guys. Like I said, the strategies and everything, you guys were looking pretty. But yeah, it's just some of those times those late yellows, it just throws huge wrenches into the end of those races. But so you're able to kind of work your way through it and still get a great result. So look forward to seeing you in that Final Four, and yeah, go get them, and we'll see where you wind up there.
Appreciate it, Gil.
All right, Dale, we're going to grab now our second place finisher, and that is going to be the favorite son. So that's going to be the 53 of Quabi Brooks. Kind of got to return the favor, if you will. Earlier this season, Jim Brooks able to push Quabi to a win. Quabi this time was able to get the opportunity to push Jim to the win. But I guess the first question for me is, so you obviously had a little piece of that inside there. You did a really good job hanging on to that car, but did you have at all any concerns about damage, or were you pretty much just from there, just you were planning on staying out no matter what there at the end?
Yeah, I was going to stay out unless someone told me I was pretty damaged. I asked the father how the rear looked of the car. He said a little bit of a dent. It shouldn't be a problem. So I was definitely not going to pit and give up all that track position, knowing that a wreck like what happened at the end is pretty much inevitable.
Yeah, it definitely got dicey there at the end. But you guys, I mean, and that's what Dale and I were talking about, was we saw that restart. We saw where you were. We saw where Jim was, and then Matt Wagner, Charles Johnson. So we're like, if they can kind of set this up right, get locked onto one another pretty well, they could make a charge for this, because obviously it takes that lap or so to really get things up to song. Of course, able to at least get to the start-finish line before it all kind of kicked off to. And then I'm sure you're able to check in your mirror there. You kind of look in your mirror. It's pretty empty to the back. So I mean, what was your feeling coming out of 2 and seeing what was going on behind you?
Yeah, I mean, congrats to Gabe and his team. They're always working very well together, and I was lucky enough to be able to hang on to the tail end of them. But it was pretty clear that I was not going to be able to work with them. So at that point, the tables turned. I had my teammate there, and I could help push him to the win. They fought pretty hard down the back straightaway. I wasn't sure how that was going to turn out, but they raced clean, and we got the result we were hoping for.
Yeah, and obviously kind of returning the favor. You were the push E a few weeks back. Now you're able to get that pusher. Dale and I were joking and kind of putting a cap on that favorite son nickname that we've given you. So I mean, how fun was that to be able to A, push him to the win, and then B, also to help him advance to that Final Four?
Yeah, that was great. I mean, it was really chaotic at the end, and I was part of that first yellow that led to that second crash. I don't know how he saved it, but yeah, I saw Robbie got loose a little bit. I had to go down, and I think I might have went across Matt Quick's nose. I'm not sure, and somehow kept it straight. So at that point in time, had no idea how it was going to turn out, and then the yellow came out, and yeah, it's the repayment's overdue, and I guess the timing is just about perfect, so I'll take it.
Before we let you go, obviously I have a little bit of insider knowledge, but got a lot of new looking paint scheme, a lot of different sponsors on there. So I know you have some hobbies that you like to do. So definitely want to give you opportunity, any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that second place that you got tonight.
Well, thanks to you guys for the broadcast. Thanks to you for the paint job. It's for those wondering, it's the sponsors of the cycling team I'm on. So Natural Grocer Cycling, we have a good contingent in Colorado and in Arizona, and we ride our bikes a lot. So I figured, why not feature them in Green White Checker? And yeah, first race and top 3, I'll take that. Yeah, and congrats to my father and obviously Gabe on the 3rd place run. The playoff guys did pretty well today, I'd say overall, staying out of trouble as much as they could. And yeah, just a shout out to my wife who's recovering from some surgery. If you're watching, which I put it on YouTube in the TV, so she involuntary watching. Hope you're feeling better.
All right, well, great job, though, Quabi. It's a lot of fun to see you working your strategies, and you're right. I mean, great job, Dale and I were noticing. I mean, you were off strategy on the pit stops, but like you said, able to keep up with those guys through the pit stop cycle. So, yeah, just really good job kind of nailing your entry and exits on the pit side of things. And Dale and I were saying you probably owe your pit crew some ice cream or something like that because they were on it tonight.
Yeah, that's true. It worked out pretty well. There's one time where it was about 1 second back and somehow got up to them. So those guys work really well together. And with that 1 second gap, I was not that confident. And both Robbie and myself actually were able to get on there, which felt like a win at the time.
All right, well, enjoy that one. Go take care of Sarah. Definitely, Sarah. Hope you're getting better. Look forward to seeing you back to full steam. And yeah, enjoy this one, Quabi. Go have fun with the girls and enjoy that second spot.
Thank you.
All right, Dale. That means we got to jump one more driver over, and that is gonna be. So we're gonna go from favorite son to, I don't know if we call it only father or what we wanna nickname him, but we're gonna give nickname is gonna be race winner tonight here at Daytona. So obviously, I've talked to you a little bit before the race. You weren't too sure about how things were gonna go tonight, but I'm guessing this is about the best that you could have hoped it could have gone tonight.
Yeah, that's an understatement. And with 10 to go, I was hoping for 10th place. So yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, obviously, the pit stop strategies didn't quite all go exactly to plan for you. And it's just that's the way these races go. It seems like that's really the defining moments is those in out laps and everything like that. But that late caution kind of obviously gave you a lot of track position back. You're able to keep that car clean as well. And then from there, Dale and I were noticing, you had a lot of friends around you at the end there. Obviously, Quabi was there right with you. And then you had Matt, Charles was there too. So were you feeling pretty good going to that final restart with who you had around you going into that final stint?
Yeah, definitely, because Matt had been helping me the whole race. I thank him for sticking with me there. So that was very, very helpful. Quabi obviously was there at the most important time. Charles, yeah, he was there. We worked together a little bit earlier, and yeah, mostly it was just some luck there. And then obviously it sucked that everybody, most of the field crashed there on that last lap. Little bumping, I guess, did that, but little luck. And definitely thank Gabe for being the professional that he is. I mean, he blocked me when I tried to go outside, which was 100% cool. And then I made a quick move inside, and he let that go. He really could have came back down, but that's not how he races. So, I got to really thank him for being, super professional and sort of helped me do it. Because if not, yeah, it would have been second place, no doubt.
Yeah, that's what's fun about some of these guys you can race with is you can race a lot of these guys really hard, but they're all kind of in it to make sure everybody's there at the end of these ones. Like you said, unfortunately the incident at the end, but that's you're on the white flag, you're coming to the finish, and I'd say everybody's pushing that a little bit extra than what they maybe do before. So it was all to play for us. I mentioned to Quabi, I don't know, were you able to check your mirror there coming out too and just seeing everybody else kind of pile up behind and then just being kind of the handful of you to make that shot at the end?
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, I was planning on just staying right there behind Gabe and just the three of us just go in a line. And I saw him crashing, and that was when I told Quabi on the radio, said, let's go. And so made that move outside, and Gabe blocked that, and I was able to not be too far where I could turn down quick and at least get position to have the run on him.
Well, I'll say so. Obviously, the win's going to advance you over. So, we're pretty confident about the top three. So, obviously, Kevin Freeze with his win last week, you winning tonight, and then Gabe, doing everything he needed to tonight. So, we feel pretty good about those being the top three going into the finale. What are you thinking about for that one? And then obviously, I'll have to make you do a little bit of admin work or some on the admin work to find out who that fourth and final driver is tonight. So I know that's going to be a pretty close one there.
Yeah, I mean Kevin Hash, I think, was there, so I don't know where he finished, but he would have had the best chance at it. But yeah, as soon as we get up here, I'll go do that. And then as far as next week, it's the same thing. Just I don't know that I'll stay in the back the whole time. I'll probably try to qualify and see if I can get in the mix, and run that way. And that way, if you don't make it, you don't make it. That's fine. But that's again, I'm not a real plate racer. This year has been kind of unusual, and I'm not going to complain. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'd say obviously no points involved next week. Just highest finisher of the four of you will be the season 7 champion. So, but I mean, yeah, just congrats. I'll say you obviously say a little bit of luck, but you say put yourself in the right position and able to make that move to the end to get that win. So definitely enjoy that one. But before we let you go, though, definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts that you'd like to give.
Just the guys got a really good group here, and again, they're professional. They do a good job. They try hard, and the results are what they are. And glad to have Charles Johnson back now, so he'll be back, and then pretty much full time for next season in the Cup and Super Speedway. So we'll see him a lot more, and that ought to make it the league that much better. And so yeah, and you guys for doing your broadcasting. I appreciate that a lot.
Well, enjoy this win. I know you got plenty to prep for next week. Obviously, season 7 finale is coming up on Tuesday, Thursday, and of course on Sunday, a week from tonight as well. So enjoy this one though for sure. And then yeah, we'll be catching you in these next couple of races.
Okay, thanks to you and Dale for coverage. Bye.
All right, Dale, that is our race winner in that number 76 of Jim Brooks. I was a little worried about missing his burnout there, but I say it looks like he's just kind of taking a nice tour of the track there. Letting it sink in there at the end. So we'll say we're going to wait to get that final points position. So what we can do is we can get our final points results of tonight. So getting that win tonight with help from his son, Jim Brooks getting the win about a 10th over Quabi Brooks. Gabe Butler did all he could, just didn't have the help he needed at the end. He's going to grab 3rd position. Matt Wagner somehow cleared the chaos and is able to grab a 4th position himself. Dale Willoughby's going to round out our top 5. And the one that snuck through the incident there at the end, Eric Laurie, he's in that 6th position. So that could be a good position for him. We'll have to see if that's enough maybe to bump him in. You see Alberto Lopez 7, Jack Wells 8th, Matt Quick. He still finishes in the 9th spot as well, so he was right on the cusp as well coming into tonight. You got Dean Wilkinson in the 10th spot. And then 11th through 20th, Kevin Hash, he was also in a pretty good position coming into tonight. He finishes in 11th. Raymond Rittenauer 12th, Todd Merkel in 13th. Unfortunately, I don't think Todd's going to make it. He had a kind of some ground to make up before that all kicked off. So unfortunately, I don't think Todd will be one of those final 4. And then you got Charles Johnson, Todd Siebels, John Brill, Bud Steele, Kyle Hess, Nick Monfretti, and Robbie Richards rounding out our top 20. Well, Dale, that was definitely another tale of 2 races here tonight at Daytona. Caution free, a lot of single file action for a little while. Everybody's kind of spaced out, and then once we got that late caution there, I mean, everything turned on its head. And at that point, I mean, everybody's going to be going full send there for that win.
Yeah, and the card just kind of fell perfectly to Jim's favor on that, where he had teammates and friends behind him. Able to push him to exactly what he needed, which was a win to lock him in for next week. And also, when you look at the team standings, Team Roswell came into this race leading by I think 14 or 15 points, maybe. So they had 3 great finishes today. So it's definitely going to help secure that team victory.
Yeah, you're right. I believe they take the highest finishes of the team side of things. So yeah, I mean that's going to be a 1-2 for Team Roswell. I think that's the 3rd. I want to say possibly 1-2 for that team as well. So I say those guys have been really performing together. And I say that one I don't, the points I say on what we have on our side, it isn't quite accurate, unfortunately, because it kind of puts, I guess, if it's a chase side of things. So they're kind of having to do the math behind the scenes, unfortunately, as of the last non-playoff race, and then just kind of add the points that way. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that one. But like I said, we'll definitely be wanting to watch what the final results are going to be for the overall driver side of things. Because like I said, those top four, it's going to be very tight. So I'm kind of continuously refreshing here because I'd say we want to let you know who those top four are going to be going into that finale next week at Talladega. As I'm being yelled at by my four-leggeds. But man, I mean, it's I would try to do the math myself, but it's I don't want to pull that right now. So we'll wait and see for just a moment. And actually, you know what I'm going to do here? Let me see if he's around here. I'm going to see if we can pull in. I'll say it's for one of our other series, but I would say while we have a little bit of time, I want to pull in Todd Merkel because he's our race sponsor, our playoff sponsor for the Thursday Cup Series. So let's say maybe we can grab him for a moment to say get a couple words from him as well. So give us a second here. We'll see if we can pull Todd Merkel up as well.
Well, I mean, at any rate, I mean, to talk about what Todd's doing and what he's brought to the series, it's a big deal for us as broadcasters. It's a big deal for Area 51, the entire league, not just the Cup League, to have somebody put their business name behind the racing and what's going on here. So I personally greatly appreciate that. I know you do. I know Jim and Charles Johnson do as well. It's really a big deal to have somebody put their name on what you're doing.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's just a really cool thing that he was able to do for that group. I said we talked about him a little bit before. Let's say running a pro stock. So I say he's got a lot of good stuff that is available for people, anybody interested in. I say actually I can kind of help our cause out here. I'll pull it up here while again, unfortunately having to wait here, so killing a little bit of time at the meantime. So you can see there the Merkel Racing engines. So he's got custom engines, parts, and sales. So you can find them at merkelracing.com. So you can definitely find a lot of fun things on there if you're looking for any performance parts. So we always talk about the LS side of things on the Thursdays. And I say now I think we do have some points updated. So while we're watching Jim Brooks run around, I can give our final results. So it's going to be, those final four are going to be Gabe Butler getting the win, or sorry, not getting the win, but getting the points he needed tonight. Jim Brooks with his win last week. And then, actually, there's some weirdness on the points here. I say it's not showing Kevin Freeze with in the top four, but obviously with that win, he was advanced. So I believe the fourth and final driver, and I believe by 1 point, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. I'm running through the numbers one more time. Actually, by about 6 points, it's going to be Kevin Hash is going to be our fourth and final driver. I'll say, unfortunately, the two, Matt Quick and Eric Lory, were just outside that number. And then Todd Merkel, we mentioned, didn't have the night he was looking for. And actually, I didn't even realize that Chad Wilkes, he wasn't in here tonight, so he didn't even have a chance at this one tonight. So based on what we're seeing, though, tonight, it's going to be, next week will be Gabe Butler, Jim Brooks, Kevin Hash, and Kevin Freeze will be our final four for that championship at Talladega next week.
Yeah, Chad Wilkes is also, to mention him, he's a contender in the Area 51 Cup Series, going to Phoenix on Thursday. Phoenix is a tough racetrack, so I would not be surprised if Chad's putting a lot of time in there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So, for us, I'll say again, apologies for kind of having to do a little bit of rambling there to make sure we had everything set up for figure out who's going to be in those final four. But as I said, based on what we see there, that will be our final four drivers. So congrats to them, and just again, congrats to all the drivers. I mean, it was a really good race tonight, and just that one yellow really shook things up, kind of made it a tale of two races. But Dale, as always, really appreciate you joining me in the booth for these things. And yeah, I'm looking to look forward to next week. We got some finales to do, and we're gonna be crowning some season 7 champions here in just a few more days.
Yeah, I'm excited to be part of it, man. Appreciate it.
All right, so before we go, as always, if you guys can, try to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and until Tuesday, have a good night, everybody.